In this video, I'm going to help you avoid an $800,000 mistake that I made by not having my business partnership set up the correct way with clear accountabilities and clear expectations of who is doing what. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So this is called the responsibility matrix. And this has saved me now countless times when establishing new partnerships. And then as well as, even helping our teams cross-departmentally utilize this same tool to get clarity of who is doing the what and who is owning the how and the outcome and the accountability behind certain things in a business. And as we get into this, I did mention, I had a business partner. This was back a few years ago now, that we had an operating agreement. We had, buy sell agreement and a lot of these things in place that I thought was enough to make it clear of what would happen if things weren't working out. But what we didn't have was a responsibility matrix of who is actually accountable for what in the business. And due to that, it ended up costing me literally $800,000 in loss due to the battle and the fight that took literally a year to get this partner out of that particular business. And this was extremely unfortunate, obviously. And I wish that I would have just had the right things in place, which, one being the responsibility matrix. And there's a lot of different use cases for this. In that particular, use case, as far as talking, with my attorney, I'm not an attorney. Talk to your attorney and you're given state for advice on, making sure your partnership agreements are set up correctly. But what I now do in any partnership is whenever we are entering into an agreement, we're setting up the initial operating agreement, we establish this responsibility matrix for what I'm accountable for and then what that partner is accountable for. And the reason we do this is to create certainty and clarity of who owns what outcome in the business. And then we have rules in the operating agreement essentially written that outline if this doesn't happen, then what happens next. And essentially what we have in our operating agreement is a sort of cure period where we can provide written notice to the partner of, hey, let's say they're accountable for everything operations and they're not doing what they're supposed to based on our responsibility matrix. We could provide a 30-day cure notice for them to resolve that. And if they do not do it, then we actually have language in our agreement that allows us to force the buyout of that partner at a predetermined price and terms so that we don't have to spend 6 months, 9 months, 12 months fighting about whether they're doing what they should be or not. We have it clearly in writing in the agreement. If this happens, then this happens. So we don't have to waste all that time. And you just saved yourself lots of money if you ever plan on having partnerships. Literally cost me 800 grand over a year period of time due to not doing this. So my pain is your gain. So let's go through this doc together and how you essentially set this up. So one of the first things I wanted to mention was you have this template available to you. If you go to the description below, you can actually download this and be able to set this up and start utilizing this yourself with you and your partner. So a few things on here. One is this is more complex than most business owners are going to need. If you're, multi-seven figure, my companies did over 30 million last year. And so we're a little bit more complex than maybe $1 million a year business. So we have multiple departments and areas broken up on here. Here's what I would tell you is if you're smaller business, just, get rid of some of these areas. Don't worry about fulfillment. We're going to take these two things and we're going to drop them under operations. Human resources, we're going to, let's knock that one off there as well. And we'll move this into operations as well. But I did want to have the template here for you if you wanted to break it up into those specific areas. But, for the simplicity of this video, we're going to move some of them into the core areas of business, which the core that I believe are in every business that, we break this into is marketing, sales, operations, finance, and everything else falls into buckets under those. So technology, I also throw this into operations. So I'm going to just throw these up here so that those could sit there. Okay. So we're going to just remove that. We have finance, then we have marketing, then we have sales. As we're going through our sheet here, I'm not, expert on making things look all pretty. My team puts this stuff together. So I'm going to just do the rough and dirty version of just adding some things in each of these sections. But let's start at the top. So what you need to do is, let's say, I'm starting a new partnership. So I would have my name here, and then I would have whoever the partner is in the business there. Let's just call our partner Bob. And let's say we're coming together. We have this amazing integrator, visionary type of vibe going on. I'm like, I love ops, finance, people, and you love sales and marketing. Amazing. We both hate the things that each other loves, so like this could work out great. So let's get clear on who's going to own what. So I am going to champion and I am going to own everything from the ops, the finance, the people side of the business, and Bob is going to champion marketing and champion sales. I have some examples on here of items that are under operations. Really, what you need to do when you download this is just start adding the specific tasks of the different areas of business under your ops, your finance, your sales, your marketing, of the main core functions. And so like, let's say, let's just go to, I look at every business like a conveyor belt. It starts with leads and marketing, falls on a conveyor belt, becomes sales, conversion event happens, operations fulfills on that sale, finance makes sure all the bills are paid, and the conveyor belt keeps turning because the things are being paid and managed correctly. So let's look at marketing. So let's say, okay, Bob, Bob's gonna do social media management, paid advertising, but you could even get more granular. So let's say paid ads and YouTube are all managed fully, so that's a Bob thing. Email campaigns, so let's just say email marketing is going to be owned by Bob. Let's say brand development and website marketing, so the actual marketing conversion, funnels that need to be built, Bob's owning that. Bob is also owning this. And so one thing I want to be clear on is Bob is owning accountability doesn't mean Bob does it all. Same thing for me. If I'm owning accountability on a specific area, it doesn't mean that I do it. I'm accountable that it gets done. So it means I'm doing it, or I'm hiring someone to do it, or I'm delegating or outsourcing somebody else to do that particular thing, which is what you should do as well as you continue to grow your business. So let's see here on sales. So sales team management. Let's see, sales team training, sales script, objection handler, SOP development, and updating. So all of those things need to be done by Bob. Needs to train the team, needs to make sure they're hitting their targets, managing the team, making sure that the CRM is being filled out correctly by the sales team and that they're doing what they're supposed to in there. You'll notice there's a note section. So if there's ever anything you need to write out to get a little bit more clarity on what something means, or a little bit more information needs to be shared, you have that ability here. And one of the important components on here is you never want to do this. Let's say, oh, well, I kind of help with social media management, but Bob does too. No, absolutely not. Do not ever, 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 ever do that. You need to have someone owning it. Yes, you and Bob, me and Bob can collaborate on it and come up with ideas together, and we should do that because we're partners. But Bob owns the results and the accountability of it getting done. If two people are responsible for feeding the dog starves, because it's the whole, I thought you were going to feed the dog. Oh, I thought you were going to feed the dog. It's like, you got to get accountability of who owns the result. And that's what this is about. It is not about just pointing a finger and blaming somebody for not getting the result done, but it's about holding them accountable to doing it. But you can help each other, and you should be, because you're partners, and you should be collaborating and helping each other in general. Doesn't mean you should take over owning something, but if you need to update it and it's like, I do, we're going to change this up, I'm going to now own it, Bob's not going to, like, you can do that, but it needs to be a clear line in the sand of who's owning what. So let's go up to finance. Let's say bookkeeping. Okay, I'm owning that. Payroll processing, I'm owning that. Insurance policies. Let's say accounts receivable. I am going to own that. Accounts payable. So like, I'm paying all the bills and I'm making sure we're getting payments in for our service or our product. Let's say closing the monthly books, say financial management, strategy, and execution. Again, doesn't mean I'm doing it. It means I own accountability for it. Then let's go up here under operations. I am going to own the weekly meetings, the strategic planning, the SOPs overall for the company, making sure that those are rolled out. So check this out. So standard operating procedures. Well, what about Bob over here that is doing the SOPs for sales? Bob owns doing the SOPs for sales and making sure they get done. I am accountable to make sure that the entire company has the SOPs dialed in. I need to make sure that marketing has SOPs done. I need to make sure sales has them done, operations and finance has SOPs, because I am going to own and champion that for the whole company. But for actually doing them, Bob is doing them for sales, and I am accountable to make sure that he gets them done. Document organization, team collaboration. If let's say I have inventory, I'm going to make sure that's done. Or again, I'm accountable to make sure the team has that done. Overall customer success, happiness. If there needs to be hires, I'm owning the team or I'm doing that myself. Onboarding new team members and helping with that. Termination, performance improvement. I'm rolling out those types of plans and things into the business. As far as website, just move this down here. Website hosting, maintenance. I don't know how to do any of that stuff, but I am accountable to make sure it's done. So I'm either outsourcing it to an agency that knows how to do it, or I am hiring someone to do those things, that I am owning. And so as you can see, I am owning these items and then, finance. And then when we look at Bob's owning things in marketing and in sales. And for the sake of this video, I'm not, doing this whole beefy thing, but in some of the companies that I have, we'll have 10 to 15 items under each individual area and under sales or under marketing. And this is supposed to be a collaborative effort between you and your business partner to come up with these areas to make sure that they're accounted for on here. And it's something that you could update on, maybe you update it twice a year or you update it once a year based on how the company's changed or how both of you are changing what you're both accountable for. And then you could update that on your operating agreement as well. But what this will do for you is create significant clarity of who is supposed to own what in the business. So you're getting the results that you're looking for and you don't create this friction and frustration. You still might if the person that you're working with isn't holding their end of the bargain up, but this is going to help you reduce that significantly because you have these conversations up front and you got it clear in writing. So there's no confusion of like, hey, Bob, like we're not getting enough leads. And Bob's like, you're supposed to help with leads. It's like, no. You own that solution. You need to provide the solution for that. I am not owning that. That is on you to own. And again, like I can help collaborate with those things, but that is something that Bob needs to fully own. And that's how you utilize this to create accountability and to create certainty of who is doing what in the business, so that you're not confused. And there's not like, you'd be surprised how many business owners I talk to that are like, I kind of do that. And my partner kind of does it as well. But, we're not super clear. If I'm too busy, sometimes Bob will do it that day. And then on other days, I'll do it. That sets yourself up for lots of frustration. That'll cause you to build resentment against your partner. It's just not a winning situation. That in a nutshell is what the responsibility matrix is for, is to create that clarity. And this is something you should absolutely attach as part of your operating agreements. So that's clear there. Put it in your company's Google Drive. And it's something that you can share with your team as well, so that they know who to go to for what on specific things. Because there are cases in some of our companies where maybe there's, I'm just going to select on some of these where it looks like this, where there's certain functions that are owned in a certain area of business that it's kind of bounced between a few, where Bob owns some of the things in ops and I own some of the things in ops, but it's clear on who owns which specific item. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And that's, again, you do not want to have any that are like this, but it's okay to have it like this, where there are certain functions that are still owned in ops by both of you, as far as both of you owning an item in ops, but it just can't be the same item, because then, again, we go back to that same situation of if two people are accountable, no one is. So with that being said, hopefully this helps and I can help save you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars by creating this clarity, and save you tons of painful, frustrating conversations with business partners. And I would absolutely do this on the front end when you're first starting to work with someone, so it's super clear and that you don't have to go through the same pain that I did. And by the way, if you are looking to scale up your business and you want to grow it into this high profit, self-managing company, what I want you to do is click the link below, check out the Scale with Pros Mastery Program, where myself and my team work directly with business owners and helping them implement all of the systems that they need to turn into high profit self-managing companies. So with that being said, click the link below and we'll see you in the next video.